Don Shooter's goals were simple enough. Hopes of a life crunching numbers and raising a family.
I was going to be an accountant or a bean counter or whatever you want to call them.
A world war would change everything. He had no idea his talents with calculations would be needed to save the lives of his entire crew. So many crews had made mistakes that cost so many lives.
Every time you see something on TV where there's a plane crash or something, why, I can see it right today.
But there are good memories too, and an unusual connection that would change everything.
He was a AT&T repair guy. He got way up on the poles and did things. So what he would do was tap into the line and make these long distance calls. He was a little cheating, of course, but anyway, he says, we're having a reunion in Chicago and we'd like you to come.
Followed by another trip at a homecoming he will never forget. With memories as clear as the big blue sky, he takes us to the heart of his story. What were you doing prior to the war?
I was going to school, going to University of Iowa, and intended to go back, but never got there.
What were you hoping to be? What was your dream then?
I was going to be an accountant or a bean counter or whatever you want to call them.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I enlisted in the Air, well, at that time it was the Army Air Corps, in October of '42.
But Don's life was about to veer off course, big time. It would take him on adventures he never imagined and would never forget. He was off to boot camp, pilot school, then into the Pacific on a B-24 bomber.
Went from San Francisco to Hawaii to some little island jumping to New Guinea, and from there on it was all business.
Did you have mixed emotions dropping the first bomb load?
Well, the dropping it didn't bother me. It was the fact that I wanted to make darn sure that we could turn around and go home. But somebody said, well, did you ever have, like you say, a guilty conscience for that? No. I figure they're shooting at me and I'm shooting at them, so fair is fair.
And you had a mission to accomplish, so could you tell if you hit your target or not? And how did you feel when you realized you did?
It's not as refined as it is today. There it is right there. I said, oh yeah, well, if you say so. So anyway, they tell you, fly at 350 degrees or something, and turn a little right, turn a little left, hold it steady, bombs away. Of course, you don't see that because you're up high. But when you turn away and you see the flames, why, you got a hit, but and not always.
When you did get a hit, was there a roar, and did you guys celebrate, or give us an example of one of the times?
In a way, it was just, nice going. That's our job, let's get the heck, go home. And, because sometimes the biggest thing, and our biggest losses were some people that just could not adjust their fuel properly. What you did is you had what they call I can't think of any of it, but it's a combination of air and gas. And you would narrow that thing down until it just got almost to the red point, and then back off a little, so you were using your fuel at the most advantageous part. And a lot of people just didn't do that right and ran out of gas before they got home. So, and there was no place to land but the water. Actually, I guess the most dangerous part was actually taking off. We were always overloaded with extra gas and bombs. And the trick was, I was fortunate in the fact that I didn't make any what I call close friends. There was a fellow, yeah, right. Our tent, I say tents, they were tents. If you would, a lot of them had floors in them. I took a bottle of my good whiskey to barter for lumber for the floor in our tent. But the one next to us, in fact, we'd been playing cards the day before, and they knew it was their turn to go somewhere and never came back. Our plane was the first to take off that day in our group. I happened to be the flight leader that day. And as I say, we were very loaded. What you do, a B-24 has got a tricycle landing gear, and you'd put your landing gear, the tricycle one up here and the other two right on the edge of the runway, and as I say, just run it up as best you could. Well, we were all ready to start to do that because you started that as soon as the other plane got down the middle of the runway. Well, he didn't make it off. And you knew right there's 10 people dead. But the control tower operator, you'd think it was an everyday occasion. He said, 320, which is our squadron number, 320 flight leader, you'll have to wait a few minutes for those flames to die down. And I thought, holy crap. But, and that was probably my worst experience because.
And for you and the guys, after something like that happened, did you talk about it? What did you do?
You do, but you know, a lot of things happen, and you just, I've never forgotten it, that's for sure. Every time you see something on TV where there's a plane crash or something, I can see it right today. I mean, it just plain, but it's like a lot of things. I still thank God I was the guy that was up in the air and not storming the beaches. I think those guys, that was something.
Don made it home. Decades later, became part of the first in his area to go on an honor flight to Washington, D.C. It's a community's way of thanking veterans for their service with a trip to see the monuments and memorials built for them. Had you ever been to see the World War II memorial?
No.
What did you think when you got there?
Well, they were pretty, you took your breath away. That World War II was such a big, beautiful thing. I thought in a way, the most impressive was the Korean memorial. People who made that, or the person who made those statues, had the expressions on the faces that you just would never forget.
I'm going to take you back to the World War II memorial so I can get your take on that. When you first saw it and you saw all the stars on the wall there.
That really gives you goosebumps. Or even more of that, it gives you a lump that you can't, realizing that each one of those stars stands for 1,000 casualties. Unbelievable. That was the most impressive part of the World War II memorial. Of course, they've got all the Pacific and the different areas, and it's very well done, but that really gets you.
Did it bring back a lot of memories going on that trip?
Yeah, and that's one of the problems, some good ones and some bad ones, you know. Because you go around and at different points and different places, you'd see guys kind of, you knew darn well they were crying. But, so it brings back all kinds.
Any nightmares or anything as a result of that?
Not really, except for that one crash. I sometimes, it seems like it depends on what happened the day before or what was on TV. If there's an accident or something, it kind of rumbles your mind, I guess.
So you got to use your talents to help this country fight a war that many say kept our world free. How does that make you feel?
Well, if it would keep away World War III, that'd be great, but and I don't think there will be a World War III. With today's technology and weapons, it would, if it was really an all-out attack, forget it. I mean, the whole world would be a hell of a mess. I mean, what these people, I'm sure they realize it, but like Korea, North Korea, if you really bombed them, they'd never be able to grow crops for 10, 20 years. They'd sure, maybe they're all down in cement revetments, but they're going to be alive, but so what? They have nothing to eat or anything. So I don't think it'll ever come to that.
So your hope is that the work that you did and others sacrificed for will hopefully prevent another war like that.
I sure do, because it, like I say, it'll be an entirely different story.
Hey, help us share more inspiring stories. Click on that photo of me and subscribe. Leave a comment, tell a friend. More cool stories coming. The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.